Okay. Okay, thank you. It's on, it's recording?
Don't get all bashful now. Keep it vague.
Yeah, okay.
As a board member.
Welcome everybody back to the MMM Chabura. First and foremost, welcome to my parents all the way from Muncie. Thank you guys so much for being here, for coming, for joining us for this. Thank you to SEH Security for sponsoring this wonderful event, Yehuda Fleischer, for all of your security needs, all of your, not just security, all your needs. Reach out to Yehuda. Thank you to Yitzchak Zimberg for putting this unbelievable spread together. We definitely could not have done it without you. We know that usually we have one chicken platter and this is just like 10 platters, so I don't know how you worked it out. Hope you didn't pay from your pocket, but thank you so much for this. And with that, we're good to go? Okay. So we're very excited. Thank you all. And of course, I want to thank this week's corporate sponsor, another sponsor from Muncie, New York, from Arcadian Drive, to David and Fegi Friedman of Wesley Hills, New York. They dedicated this shiurim to Ulu Nishmas. Their father is Avim Yaakov ben Asher Klein, whose yahrzeit is Yudal Tammuz, as well as Chaim Aaron ben Yaakov Ber Friedman, Zechoni Levracha, whose yahrzeit is on Shiva Asher B'Tammuz on Sunday. May their neshamas have an aliyah, may they be a meditation for their mishwachis. Okay. So we are, as we say, we're always somewhere, we're always holding right before something. So right now we're holding right before Shiva Asher B'Tammuz on Sunday. And there is still utter catastrophe and turmoil and pain and suffering in the world. The news doesn't end. And of course, that's on a general, on a macro level, as Klal Yisrael as a whole. But of course, as Yechidim, as individuals, we all struggle. We all go through our own personal struggles, challenges, and something that's very important is that we can't forget, especially as we go into the era of the 3 weeks and Tisha B'Av, is the Yisod that we're hopefully going to remember and drive home, the concept of Shechina Begalusa. That Hashem's Shechina, the Hashem's presence has nowhere to dwell, and all of this, all of the pain and all of the lost neshamas and all of the things that we go through is all a direct manifestation of Hashem doesn't have a place for Shechina to reside. There's no place of Makom Hashras Shechina, and because of that, Hashem has to awake us. He has to remind us that He's uncomfortable. He has to remind us that He's hurting, and unfortunately, through these tragedies, through these events, through whatever is going on, it's just a reminder that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there, and we see slowly that when the news reporters in Israel, when there's the absence and the omission of HaKadosh Baruch Hu becomes less and less, and they start talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, Laser? Start talking about Hashem and saying Tillim and Nishmas, and slowly we're shifting. There's a shift, and Be'ez Hashem will come to that time of Umal Aretz Deah, the times of Yemei Mashiach, as the Navi says, Umal Aretz Deah, when we know that there's a clear das elyon, there's a clear das, a recognition of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and hopefully when the time comes, there'll be no more war, no more pain, no more sorrow, and the world will come to a place of nechama, of tranquility and peace. Having said that, there's a big yesod, always a big yesod in the parsha, and it's always relevant. In this week's parsha, we had Bilam and Balak, who tried to collaborate together and curse Klal Yisrael after the Klal Yisrael was being prosperous in the last parshas. So Balak hired Bilam to curse Klal Yisrael, and what happened was, as we know, every time he tried cursing them, a bracha would come out. And Bilam got very upset, and Balak got very upset at Bilam, and he said, Bilam, what are you doing? I told you to curse Klal Yisrael. Instead, every time you give them a bracha, you give them a bracha that they should be prosperous, that they should be successful. There are singular, a nation that's going to be prosperous, that they're going to endure, and they're going to always shine. And why are you saying you're supposed to curse them? You're supposed to ask for their demise, for their downfall, for calamities to befall upon them. And what did Bilam say back to Balak? Says Bilam. Vayimer Balak el Bilam. Balak said back to Bilam. Balak said to Bilam, I told you to curse them. What are you doing blessing Klal Yisrael? Vaya'an. Bilam said back to Balak, Vayomer haloi eis asher yasim Hashem befi. Whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu is going to implant, whatever He has planned for me to say over, oisei eshmar ledaber. That is what I have to safeguard. That is what I have to abide by, and that is what I'm going to do. That's what's going to happen. And he said back to Balak, I understand that you wanted me to do A, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu has B in mind, and as much as I try just to open my mouth and get the words out, it's not going to work because Asher Yasem Hashem Befi, whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to say, whatever He puts it, that's what I'm going to say. Eshmar ledaber. That is what is going to come out. There's no other choice. There's no other option. And that was Bilam's response to Balak. You look weiter in Parshas Kiseitze, later on in Dvarim, and echoing this whole parsha, this whole episode with Bilam and Balak, what does the Torah say? The Torah says, V'lo av Hashem le'kach l'shmel Bilam. Hashem, in the little translation of this, is, you shall not, V'lo av Hashem le'kach l'shmel Bilam. But Hashem, your God, refused to listen to Bilam. Vayafech Hashem le'kacha l'chas klal levracha. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu switched. Every time he tried to make a klala, instead it became a bracha. Ki ahivecha Hashem le'kacha. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves you. HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about you, us. He cares about our prosperity, our success. We're the Am HaNivchar, and that's unshakable. And because of that, because I love you, that no matter what Bilam tried to curse Klal Yisrael with, it always came out as a bracha. That's what it says in the pasuk in Kiseitze. So this in it itself is a tremendous message that we can try. We have agendas, we have schedules, we have things we want to do, we have things we want to accomplish, we have things we want to say. But at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is always there, and everything is already preordained and predestined, and there's already a script it's already scripted, and we can't manipulate that, we can't change that. And to that HaKadosh Baruch Hu says that sometimes when we want this to happen, Hashem it's always going to go back into His script. That's Pashup Sham Psukim. Chassam Sofer is medayik that the pasuk over here says, Hashem refused to let this happen, but He didn't just refuse. Lishmayal Bilam. It wasn't just a refusal, but there was refusal to listen to the words to the call of Bilam. What's this extra knitch, this hadgasha we're highlighting? That it wasn't just that Hashem refused that the curse shouldn't come out, it shouldn't apply, it shouldn't be done, but Hashem didn't even want to hear it. What's the Pshah says? Chassam Sofer, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu has such a love, HaKadosh Baruch Hu has such an affinity and care for us. The Chassam Sofer himself gives a mashal. He says, imagine you have a guy who goes to the Gadol Dar, goes to B'chaim Kanievsky, and he starts cursing him. Right? So a random passerby, he doesn't really care because he knows that Chaim Kanevsky is the Gadol Dar, and this guy is just a Meshuggah, he's a nut. So I don't really care. But what about a guy? What about Chaim Kanevsky's son? Chaim Kanevsky's son is standing there, and all of a sudden this guy comes to start cursing Chaim Kanevsky. The son won't put up with it, even though this guy's a nut, he knows he's a Meshuggah, but he's going to fight back. He's going to say, this can't happen, this can't stand. You're talking to the Gadol Dar, covered Hatira, covered of a tzaddik, the place, he's going to fight back. Says the Chassam Sofer, that's the same exact thing with us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's what the Torah is communicating over here. It wasn't enough that HaKadosh Baruch Hu should be loy ava. He shouldn't just refuse, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, loy ava l'shmaya. I'm not even going to allow that someone should talk bad against you. I can't even hear the words of a curse against you. And loy ava l'shmaya. It was the next level. It wasn't just a refusal. I didn't even want to hear the words. And Hashem had to contort, he had to change the klala into a bracha because of HaKadosh Baruch Hu's unbridled, ceaseless, boundless, flowing love for us. And even to hear chas v'shalom, a word of a klala, out of love for us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu changed that into a bracha. What's the Yisrael? What's Chassam Sofer telling us? What's the Torah telling us? The Torah is telling us that always in life we're going to encounter situations where we want it to happen, it should happen. But it doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like it's happening. And we're reminded through this parsha of the Torah that we have agendas, but bitachon and realizing that Kadosh Baruch Hu has the script, and we're just here to do our part. As my followers quotes from Ephraim Waxman, right? Those who think we're here to work, right? What is it again?
There are some people who have a mistaken notion that they go to work in order to make a living.
Right. There are those who have a mistaken notion to think that they're going to work to make a parnasa. So we're not going to do anything. We're not going to accomplish anything. We're going to do our shtadlus. And after that, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in charge. And we see that highlighted in this pasuk, in this Torah, even from Goyim Chochma, Goyim Taimin, and even from a Rasha, we can learn that when he wanted to curse HaKadosh Baruch Hu, says Chasam Sofer, HaKadosh Baruch Hu loves us, HaKadosh Baruch Hu cares about us more than anything, and when he wanted to come and curse us, Hashem says, I have a plan, I'm not even going to hear from you, don't even try, because it's already planned. There's already an agenda, and of course we have Bechira, but it's a chizik to us. On the one hand, it's a reminder of the bitachon we have to have, but it's also a tremendous chizik. We're trying to push one way, and we just don't see it happen. We think, we want to do this, but it's just not. Hashem has a script already. Hashem has it mapped out. Hashem has it all worked out. There's a bigger puzzle, and not always are we going to fit in and understand that, but we let HaKadosh Baruch Hu take us on the ride. We subscribe, and we'll see HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashgacha, and ultimately be taken care of. This incredible Maisa I heard from Joey Haber, incredible. There was once two brothers, well-known brothers, Reb Meilech Milezhensk and the Heilige Reb Zusha Anapoli. They were brothers, Talmidim of the Baal Shem. And one time, they were walking in, there was Russia and Poland, and they needed to take a break. And as we know, a lot of times the tzaddikim, they would go on a gullus, they would go into exile, and they would act like schleppers, and they would disguise themselves, and they wouldn't go around with the cover that they were entitled to. And they knocked on an inn, and they said, okay, we need to sleep over, and they didn't say who they were. And the innkeeper said, okay, for sure, pay. They came in, and they were very tired. They were walking around all day, and they were in this gullus, this exile, to work on their shiftless and on their no gaiva, no big name, and that they're just a rima v'telas, a worm and a maggot in this way. That was the whole point of this gullus. So when they got to the inn, the innkeeper said, okay, here's your room. Here's 2 beds, go sit down, go lay down, have a good night. Balak. So Reb Zusha took the first bed, and Reb Meilech took the second bed. So he opened the door, Reb Zusha was number 1, Reb Meilech was number 2. 20 minutes after they opened the door, they were laying down, they were comfortable, they were about to fall asleep, doze off. All of a sudden, the door barges open, and it's these drunken, intoxicated innkeepers. And they go to Reb Zusha, and they start waking him up, shaking him, and start dancing with him, and attacking him, and just being so violent with him. And they said, they said, I'm sorry. They walked out, and they went back to sleep. Another time, 20 minutes later, in comes the innkeeper. The door barges open. The drunk innkeeper, and again he goes to Reb Zusha, picks him up, starts shaking him, starts dancing with him, starts screaming at him. He's like, okay, give me a refund, get me out of here. And he said, no, I'm sorry. Walks out again. This happened a few more times. And finally, Reb Meilech, his brother, said, my dear brother, I feel bad for you. They keep on waking you up, and I'm getting some sleep, but every time I'm also disturbed, but I feel for you, and I'll get shaken up next time if they walk in. So Reb Zusha says, okay, fine, let's see what happens. So Reb Meilech goes to the first bed, and Reb Zusha goes to the second bed. The door barges open again, lo and behold, and it's the innkeeper. And the innkeeper, you hear them cheshbon, and he say, oh, something went on over here, it looks different. He said, you know what? He said, we already bothered the first bed. We did that enough times already. Let's bother the second guy. And again, they went to Reb Zusha, they woke him up, they assaulted him, they started attacking him, dancing with him. Again and again. And finally, when they left, Reb Zusha said the Yisoid. What's the Yisoid? Said Reb Zusha to Reb Meilech. He said, Meilech, we see from here something very clear. Dvarim Brurim. If they want to dance with Zusha, they're going to dance with Reb Zusha no matter what Zusha does. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants I should be the one woken up, we can switch, we can dance, we can scream, we can cheshbon, we can calculate. If they're meant to bother me, they're meant to dance with me, they're going to dance with me, they're going to dance with Zusha. And that's the side. As we go into the 3 weeks, we go into the realization that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in pain. And we can have our cheshbonis, and we can think, I'll do this, I'll do that. I'll go here, I'll go there, I'll run away, I'll put band-aids on. But at the end of the day, Shechina Begalusa, at the end of the day, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is counting on us. At the end of the day, yes, there's a script and all, and we have to do what we can to remain in line with that, to remain loyal to that, and realize that no matter how far we're going to run, and no matter all the plans and agendas that we conjure up, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is there saying, where are you going? What are you doing? I have a plan for you. And you can run life, but we have an agenda. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's agenda was for Klal Yisrael to get a bracha, and they got a bracha. And no matter how many times Bilam tried to curse them, HaKadosh Baruch Hu was vayafich. And not only was vayafich, he didn't even have HaKadosh Baruch Hu didn't even have patience. There was no other agenda. I didn't want to hear. I love you so much. We're connected, high level. I'm not even going to hear what you have to say. So us too, we can normally have all these agendas. I don't have patience. I'm going to refuse. Stay in line, stay dedicated, stay loyal. And sometimes it doesn't seem glamorous. It seems like B'diavad. I was in shul, just to wrap up, but I was in shul a few hours ago. This guy was wearing white pants and white loafers. And the other guy said to him, it looks like you're coming from a beach meeting. You had a nice tan. And that's what I heard. This was off the script. Speaking about scripts, this is off, but I think it just really brings out the point. And it was this cooler guy with the white loafer, the whole look. And they're walking out, and he probably felt all good about himself that someone recognized that he's this tan guy that just came off the beach or something. Some good steak with his white pants and all, and loafers, and it made him feel good. And I'm like, Taka, not so bad. Got the recognition. He probably went into his Porsche or whatever, that nice car. And there was this other yid sitting, big pace, big beard, sitting writing notes, harving over a sefer. And my knee-jerk reaction, just to be honest, was, sitting there, it's a hot day, and there's so much going on. He could be tanning, he could be eating in salt, he could be at the beach, be having meetings. And what's he doing? He's sitting with his pen and paper, not having a computer, no iPad, nothing, just writing notes. Look, the guy has a better life. Look at this guy. The guy called out with the white loafers and the white pants. But it's olam hafuch. It's pashut messed up. It's distorted. It's corrupt. It's upside down. The guy's sitting, schwitzing away when everyone else is having fun, and this guy is sitting there in the base measures, no recognition, low key. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's there. And after 120, Hashem is going to come to all of us and say, where were you? I had plans for you. What happened to you? And now is the time. Come back to Parshas Bilam, Parshas Balak. HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Lo Yavah L'Shmaya. He's going to tell us that at the end of 120. He's going to say, Lo Yavah L'Shmaya. Where did he run? I refused to hear this. And what did he do? So during this time, Tzazamen, Lamar Mechazik Zayin, to be Mechazik, to take something small, at least be cognizant, recognize that Shechina Beglusa, there's a plan for us, there's an agenda, and let's try to shtaltzu to that as much as possible. And as David HaMelech says, as Kivas Hadakim Litoiv, and in this time we're going to Shechina Beglusa, let's try to bring that back with our kirva. When we realize that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is in pain and we do what we can, may He rescue us, may He salvate us with the ultimate redemption, with the arrival of the Messiah Tzidkenu and the Binyan Beis Hamikdash by Shlishi b'meir v'min amen. Shkach.